any other data does in the Umbraco cache, or straight into the database. There's no extra data. It's just a chunk of data in one field in the database. It's like in a text field, but just it's got way more information. And then it's up to you how you want to interpret that and how you want to spit it out on the page. So what this is doing here is it's looping over all the columns, looping over the rows, outputting the classes for Bootstrap in the correct way, and then it's up to you to style that up in the front end. And as I said, you can replace this with whatever you want. So if you're not using Bootstrap, that's fine. You can do that. There's not much point to me. I did have a demo prepared for creating a custom control, but it's kind of pointless because it's all going to change. It's pointless we go through it. But I can explain briefly how it works. It's all done in Angular. So hands up, anybody's used Angular before? Right, so a few. So if you wanted to create your own grid configuration, you would need to update the controller, so that when you click save on your custom grid entry, that it's going to actually do something correctly. You define how it looks. So you define your text areas, all the rest. So maybe you want an image picker in there. Maybe like the example I was using was where you had an image and a headline and text. So you define all that in your view. You define how the controller reacts when the click events happen. And then in the edit, there's a kind of a grid.editors.config file which allows you to define, configure your new grid item. So for example, to say what the icon's going to be, and then there's a config object in where you can add in whatever you want. That's all. So the data comes back from the database as a dynamic out of the box, and so it doesn't make any assumptions about what you've got in there. So in your config, you could add all sorts of data in there, depending on what you need it to do. And the other thing is that in one of the config files, you can also tell it which of your elements are allowed in which columns and which layouts. So for example, and you can see it here, in this column, because we've chosen an article, which is kind of a narrow column and a wider column, it's been configured so that only quotes or images can appear over here. But on this side you can have, and on this side just rich text. So depending on which layout you choose, you're going to get you can restrict what the user can do. So I've been playing with this quite a lot. I think it's very flexible for users. In fact, as a developer, maybe it's even too flexible, because the range of markup that can come out of this is nearly infinite. And unless you've built your markup and thought it through and tested it, you might get elements that you didn't expect to go next to each other, so your layout might be off. Especially with responsive sites, it needs to be spot on. So I get the feeling that devs using this would probably want to restrict it from what the basic setup is. The rich text areas are great, but for me, I know that I wanted to have a bit more control, like a bit more like the old style where you have a data type. So a feature has an image, it has a headline, it has content, it has a link. Because if you try and let your editor do that in a rich text editor, it's going to be very difficult for them to get that nicely styled without having to apply lots of styling. And obviously you don't want your editor to be in control of the styling.
How does it affect search if it's all stored in one big lump of JSON?
I've seen some chat about this on the forums about updating examine to work well with it. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think your standard examine search index just works on text with space delimiters. So if you do a search for the word div, you're going to get a lot of content back. But it will pick up on this kind of text here, but there is a lot of markup and other stuff in there. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I'm hoping somebody brainier than me is going to fix that. James. Right. So any questions? Any more questions?
How do the Mexicans handle inheritance of the same property?
I don't know. Should we try?
Put a property deal in JD if you want.
So you're saying if type B, if I rename this
Yes, they both.
or add a new one called type property A?
Yeah.
Content. So now create a test page here. Just has, seems to manage, just has one.
What if they're different types? How would you do it?
Is there different types?
So I changed the type of the other.
You're not being typed with them, sure. Some aliases.
But it's not, it's not gonna, it's not inheriting values, it's just inheriting structure. So,
Yeah, but
I
if
mean,
you have the aliases, those properties. So if we go back to
so if you want to,
type B, but the property,
so type B, and you're saying
change that property A to a different property type.
yeah, just to make that a text box multiple, right? What happens now? Don't know. I'm losing my bloody page because I'm not saving it. No, hang on. No, I think.
No, he didn't say it.
Did I say it? I'm sure I said it.
There
There it
you
is.
go.
See, it's annoying. It doesn't refresh the tree.
That's coming.
Good. Another thing that annoys me is that when you click on it, it doesn't refresh it. But that's been locked as a bug, and they're going to change that because of the discard changes dialog. Because the fear was that people would. So if you've been doing loads of work and then clicked on it again, that it would just refresh it and you can changes. But with the discard, unsafe changes dialog now, that danger is. So let's see. So I don't know. Maybe it's just choosing one over the other. I think that's fairly. I mean, can't really argue with that.
I think you can do that. I think you can do that site code it crashes. So how would you choose if they have the same alias?
uses the top, the first one finds the
Well, I was going to say if you have the
It's
same
probably
alias,
it's probably the same here, I'm sure.
if it's the same alias, how do you choose which one to output? So it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mistake for someone to do it. Yeah, sure. I'm quite glad it didn't just fall on his arse.
I love the first questions about like how can you make this?
So who's used V7? Nobody.
Tiny stuff.
2, 4, 5. And for production sites? Production sites, yeah. Not very many, really.
I don't know why, but
Just you guys. Have you had any problems with it?
you have. I don't.
This is going to be wrong about it, doesn't refresh.
Just a lot of annoying things.
I found an issue if you do lots of custom properties on members and you want them to show in the profile, you have to say show the profile, edit, etc. That's about 15 or 20. So I thought I'll test this. So I've saved about 5 of them, hit save, went and tested it, see if it worked. Saved another 5, hit save, and then saved the rest and hit save, and it lost them all. So we hit save without reloading the member type, it just clears all the options. I've still to log as a bug, but it was in the last time I checked.
Right.
I think part of the problem is that they've not completely boxed everything across. What they've done is they've made some pure Angular components, and what they've also done is skin a whole lot of the old stuff, rather than completing the job and doing and monitoring in it. So it keeps throwing up all these bugs, and it stopped them from doing so. Because like if you're clicking moving from section, so like if you click on settings, good, that's updated now before in 7.4, that would change on the second column straight away. And then it wouldn't change the start pages and things on there as well. They're slowly plotting each thing across.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's a big job.
Cool. All right. Well, take a 5-minute break and then James look after that.